Back, YouTube family. Before I begin this new story, remember to hit the notification button, like and subscribe to my channel to view relevant content. Happy New Year to you all for 2023. Let's get started. Finally, the accused deleter, 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger, who unalived 4 people without leaving plenty of DNA evidence, is caught. He was a graduate student at Washington State University's Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology. When he lived in Pennsylvania, he enrolled in criminology courses at DeSales University in Center Valley, Pennsylvania too. Since Bryan Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania, he can waive extradition and voluntarily return to Idaho to face charges at his will. Everyone has a sigh of relief that he is caught, and a significant amount of evidence has been found because of one huge error. His white Hyundai Elantra was found. It's well known his car was outside of the Idaho student's dorm house in Moscow, Idaho on November 13th. Some genetic material linked to him found at the off-campus house as well. Enlightening and frightening facts about Bryan Kohberger. He's a PhD student in criminology, extremely knowledgeable in methods of omitting DNA throughout a crime scene, tracking victims, since the 4 students lived across the street from the university, and learning their schedules would be simple for him. Bryan Kohberger was a mentee studying under a serial deleter expert, Dr. Ramsland. Dr. Ramsland is an expert forensic psychologist who focused her time and gained knowledge about several serial deleters and mass M's ending with R's for decades. YouTube family, do you see how strategic, calculating, and patient these serial deleters are? As we know, on November 13th, the Idaho college students, 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves, 21-year-old Madison Mogan, 21-year-old Zena Kernoodle, and her boyfriend, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, were unalived by a knife in their sleep. All had multiple knife punctures. Some of the victims had multiple defensive wounds on their hands, meaning they woke up and attempted to fight him off, but succumbed to their injuries by stabbings. Miraculously, 2 female college students weren't targeted. They slept on the basement level. My condolences and prayers to all 4 families. It is such a wicked act for someone to unalive 4 people, causing immense pain and permanent loss to the families and society, especially when the criminal wore a mask of decency for society, such as a heinous crime that he committed with goal to obtain a high caliber profession. According to online reports, Bryan Kohberger was brilliant in his academics, but very socially awkward. When reports stated that he would ask women inappropriate questions about where they lived, who they lived with. Plus, he wasn't able to socialize well or engage in conversations with women. These are all peculiar traits. Several women complained about his character too. In my opinion, he was able to attract women physically, but he wasn't socially equipped to keep them interested in simple conversations, which I know brought on a lot of anger and frustration. It was so noteworthy how a bar owner paid attention when his identification card was scanned twice. The bar owner spoke to him man to man regarding the woman's complaints, and Bryan Kohberger never returned to that bar. YouTube family, I wonder about his motive. Was he rejected by Kaylee or more of the women? Did he take his hatred towards women out on all four students because of the convenience, since they lived together? 2 months ago, Kaylee Goncalves complained that she had a stalker. Was it him? Also, did he have a vendetta against a male student, or simply did he have to delete him to avoid being challenged by another male? Bryan Kohberger could have taken an object to knock him out unconscious if he wasn't the intended victim. When it was revealed that Bryan Kohberger participated in an in-depth discussion about his deletions during class, that is typical psychotic behavior. He made sure that when he committed the stabbing attacks, there wasn't any cuts or bruises on him. No one mentioned seeing any wounds on him at all. Although fellow students all noticed, Bryan Kohberger was exhausted and extremely chattier than previously in his entire semester, which was noticeably weird. Similar to many deleters committing crimes and returning to the scene and keeping the victim's possessions or the weapon as a souvenir. Another aspect I am quite surprised about. Bryan Kohberger used his own car, the white Hyundai Elantra, to drive to the home instead of renting a vehicle. Perhaps he did not want any evidence revealed about the number of added miles on the car. He drove from Idaho all the way to his parents' house in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which took him about 36 hours, which is equivalent to 2,386 miles. Amazing that he had the adrenaline to commit such a heinous crime using a knife and focused for hours to drive to the East Coast. He is so meticulous that he wore gloves several weeks after the crime too. YouTube family, this accused Idaho deleter, Bryan Kohberger, portrayed himself as a quiet and conservative man. As a psychopath, he wore several masks. He mimicked and created a persona that people wanted to see. That persona is a trustworthy, responsible, and harmless man. Meanwhile, he networked with masters in criminology who provided all the legal ammunition he needed to take innocent individual lives. We can understand why law enforcement spent weeks investigating and following his trail inconspicuously. Law enforcement linked his DNA to a relative, a genetic marker as well. Imagine if Bryan Kohberger had gotten away with this crime, 4 people at one time. He probably would have escalated more deletions. Presently, Bryan Kohberger claims that he is innocent. His statement was made through his public defender. Will details be discovered as to why he did the crime and where did he hide the weapon? Another thing, since he studied criminology, can he possibly be connected to additional passings as an alleged serial deleter? He's smart enough. And very, very low key. Please leave your comments below and remember to hit the notification button, like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a million and stay safe, everyone.